What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol BLU for BELLUS Health. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. There was a large gap up on today's session and a decent amount of volatility kind of fading into the afternoon. Regardless, a lot of new eyeballs on this as proof from the volume down below, and the main reason is that there was a catalyst pre-market about one of their drugs, some positive developments there, and then there were also some price increases in terms of targets that some firms have on the back of BLU. So what I want to do first is just come in and give ourselves that daily roadmap we're always paying attention to, just obvious areas of support and resistance. We should obviously talk about the gap as well. A majority of it remains unfilled, which would check out for the bulls there, meaning that the buyers were strong enough to prevent sellers from just, closing it immediately off this opening pullback that you can see there in the first 30-minute lower wick. So again, a little bit of buying strength. However, note that the upper wick is fairly significant. It's larger than the bottom. It's larger than the lower wick. That would indicate some intraday selling pressure up here at the highs, closer to $9.81, $10, give or take. So there are sellers present, but it just, not in the sense that they actually closed the gap yet, okay? I'm not saying that the gap has to close either, but what I am saying is if we take out today's low, 736, then there's sort of some room to fall. There's a void of price action until we get back down closer to 613. It's also very close to the daily 50 SMA, which is our blue line on the chart. So with that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the 30-minute intraday session here. First thing we should point out is that, again, there was some healthy consolidation for a majority of the morning here. If we take out the fibs from the low, because ultimately it did start at the low, right, do something like this, then what you'll notice is for, again, a bulk of the day, we were above the 50% mark. You can see here, all of that consolidation was above the 50%. Ideally, it would have been over the 38.2, but given the nature of the gap higher and the volatility off the open, it's okay that it went to the 50, right? However, where did we close? Certainly right on the 61.8. So this has to start to raise at least a little bit of a question mark as you start to consider how strong are the buyers who are really getting involved chasing this essentially up here at the highs, right? Are they looking for, eventually maybe, who knows, like $15 to the upside? Are they going to hold this thing? Or are they looking for a quick payday and they're probably going to fold tomorrow if it starts going red and their position starts working against them, right? So that's what you have to consider here when we're dipping underneath the 61.8. We're no longer really in the healthy consolidation range. As of right now in the post market, we're sitting pretty flat, right? We haven't moved too far, 826 by 834. So right around this area here. I think tomorrow morning is all about the closing price, okay? So we're going to use that as a pivot. It is the 61.8, so we're going to go ahead and throw that on with a regular level. There we go, and then we'll clean this up, make it a little easier to look at, and we'll mark off some intraday targets as well. If we're underneath this pivot that we've pointed out, let's just call it 830 for now. Underneath, then stand aside. This is very likely at least going to make an attempt for the low of day here at the 736, and as we know, there is that large void to fill underneath to 613. Now, are you going to short this thing? Obviously not. Coming over to the trade tab, you're not going to short the shares. And the put contracts, I think there's something fishy going on here, to be quite frank with you. If you look at the 15,000 here and pair it up with the 12,000 over here, I wouldn't be surprised if someone put through a block of trade there for about 10,000 contracts. It just wouldn't surprise me seeing like such large size here on the chain. So, sure, if you want to get involved to the put side, you probably could. I just wouldn't push your luck with trading like 50 contracts or 100 contracts here, noting that, again, this to me really looks like block activity as opposed to just individual trades, single trades going through. So it might look like a lot, but I feel like that big 10K block probably went through all in one sweep, okay? So knowing that, again, be careful if you do decide to trade puts on something like this. Note also that this spread here is about 5 cents, okay? So if you're marketing in and out, take that into consideration. So that's if we open underneath our pivot at 830. If we open above and start working our way towards 910, then fine. We're going to get healthy consolidation here, and we know that breakouts can occur up and over 910, seeing it was prior resistance here, to get us back to the high of day from today's session, 984, and then 10 the round number. After that, blue sky territory is whole and half dollars, intraday levels that do form, as and if we're moving into that uncharted territory. Now, I very specifically covered the downside case first because because of the upper wick here on the daily, because of the fact that we're closing so close to that pivot where we really don't want to be involved. So please don't get overly aggressive on this one unless we really start showing some signs of confirmation, aka candle closes above 910, good volume coming in down below as well. Just to give you an idea of what a rough threshold should be, I would watch for like 10 million shares per 30-minute bar, maybe 9 would be acceptable here if the move is going to be higher for some big momentum style break. Obviously, big volume to the downside, that's even worse, right? You don't want to be involved in that. If it wants to go sideways in here on light volume, so just muted stuff like 5 million or less per 30-minute bar, fine, chalk it up to a consolidation day, but that's what we have here inside of Blue. If you enjoyed today's video or learned anything new, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description. And all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.